Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jesse Showalter with Tor Studios, where we turn your podcast dreams into reality. Today, we're exploring the secret sauce of unforgettable podcasts, storytelling techniques. With over 464 million podcast listeners worldwide in 2023, and more than 3 million podcasts competing for your attention, it's crucial to make your show stand out. Whether you're just starting out or looking to spice up your existing show, these 5 techniques will have your listeners hanging on every word. Before we start, if you like our content, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Let's get into it. All right, let's kick things off with technique number 1, the hook. No, I'm not talking about fishing, although we are trying to catch listeners. Your hook is that attention-grabbing opener that makes people think, oh, I've got to hear this. It's the podcast equivalent of Once Upon a Time, but way cooler. With listeners deciding whether to stay or go within the first 5 minutes, a strong hook is essential. Here's how to nail it. First, start with a surprising fact or statistic. Ask a thought-provoking question or begin in the middle of an exciting story. For example, instead of, today we're talking about coffee, try, did you know goats discovered coffee? In the 9th century, an Ethiopian goat herder noticed his goats acting unusually energetic after eating berries from a certain plant. That plant? The coffee shrub. Boom! Now that's a hook that'll perk up your listeners faster than a double espresso. Technique number 2, we have the classic hero's journey. This isn't just for epic fantasy novels, it's podcast gold. The hero's journey goes like this. Ordinary world, introduce your main character or topic. Call to adventure. Present a challenge or question. Trials and tribulations. Discuss obstacles and learning experiences. And transformation. Show how the hero or topic changes. And the return. Bring it back to how this affects the listener. Let's say you're doing a podcast on starting a small business. Your hero could be a real entrepreneur, or even your listeners themselves. Take them through the journey of challenges, growth, and success. It's like Lord of the Rings, but with more spreadsheets and less lava. Fun fact, 81% of podcast listeners say they pay more attention to podcast ads than other media. So weave your sponsorships into the journey for maximum impact. Technique number 3, the cliffhanger. Who doesn't love a good cliffhanger? It's the storytelling equivalent of hiding the TV remote. It keeps people coming back for more. Here's how to use cliffhangers effectively. End episodes on a high point of tension or curiosity. Tease what's coming up in the next episode. Or use mini cliffhangers within episodes to keep listeners engaged. For instance, next week, we'll reveal the shocking truth about how this small business owner turned a $500 investment into $1 million empire. You won't believe the unconventional method they used. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Don't overuse cliffhangers or your listeners might feel like they're constantly falling off a cliff. The goal is to be part of the 47% of Americans who listen to podcasts monthly, not the group they unsubscribe from. Now let's talk about technique number 4, the contrast principle. This is all about juxtaposition, folks. It's like putting pineapple on a pizza. It shouldn't work, but somehow it does. Here's how to use contrast in your storytelling. Compare and contrast different perspectives. Highlight before and after scenarios or use unexpected twists in your narrative. For instance, if you're doing a podcast on productivity, You could contrast the life of a super organized CEO with that of a chaotic creative genius. Meet Sarah, the CEO who plans her day down to the minute, and John, the artist who finds inspiration in his cluttered studio. By the end of this episode, you'll see how both approaches can lead to success and how you can find your own sweet spot. The beauty of the contrast principle lies in its ability to create memorable moments and drive home key points. By presenting opposing ideas or scenarios, you're not just informing your audience, you're challenging them to think critically and see things from multiple angles. Consider this. Research shows that information presented in a contrasting manner is 22% more likely to be remembered than information presented in a linear fashion. That's because our brains are wired to notice differences and changes. By leveraging this cognitive quirk, you're essentially giving your listeners' brains a workout, making your content more engaging and unforgettable. So whether you're contrasting different time management techniques, opposing viewpoints on a controversial topic, or even the before and after of a personal transformation story, remember that contrast is your secret weapon for creating those aha moments that keep listeners coming back for more. And here's a pro tip. Don't be afraid to use contrast within your podcast format itself. Mix up your content with contrasting segments. Perhaps a serious interview followed by a lighthearted game, or a deep dive into statistics followed by personal anecdotes. This variety not only keeps your podcast fresh and exciting, but also caters to different listener preferences, potentially broadening your audience. In the end, mastering the contrast principle is about more than just presenting opposing ideas. It's about creating a rich, multifaceted listening experience that resonates with your audience long after they've hit the pause button. Last but not least, we have technique number 5, the personal touch. This is where you sprinkle in your own experiences and personality. It's like adding your secret spice blend to a recipe. It makes your podcast uniquely yours. How to add that personal flavor? Share relevant personal anecdotes. Be authentic and vulnerable when appropriate, or connect your experiences to your listeners' lives. Remember, 74% of podcast listeners tune in to learn new things. By sharing your personal insights, you're not just informing, you're connecting. So don't be afraid to let your personality shine through. And there you have it, folks. 5 storytelling techniques to make your podcast absolutely unforgettable. Remember, practice makes perfect, so don't be afraid to experiment with these techniques in your next episode. If you found this helpful, why not share with a fellow podcaster? And hey, if you're looking for more personalized advice, reach out to me at torstudios.com. We're here to help you create audio and video magic that'll have your listeners coming back for more. Until next time, happy podcasting.